all holy men are, Hindu holy men are doing all these kind of things, but nowadays we have a lot of religions in India, not only Hinduism. We have some 16% Muslims, which is quite a lot of people, more than the entire population of neighboring Pakistan. We have a Muslim population that big. We have 2.3% Christians in India, and they have very ambitious plans to Christianize India very fast. There is a plan, namely Joshua Plan, some years back, which wanted to Christianize the entire India in 20 years, and every district has been allotted money, and a lot of money was collected for that thing. When John Paul II Pope visited India, he made a very interesting public statement. He made a huge mass in New Delhi. He said, the first millennium, we harvested the faith. That's the word he used. We harvested faith in Europe. Second millennium, we harvested faith in Americas and Africa. Third millennium, we would harvest faith in Asia, especially in India. And all of us should be active for that. But I appeared half an hour later in a television channel, and I said that that's a very ambitious wish, and we would not allow it, and we'll fight it out with a very powerful weapon, which is known as common sense. Very simple like that, and it doesn't work in India. And there was enormous quotations about what I said, and I got good coverage against what he said also. So church was not very happy with me. Also, when Mother Teresa has been celebrated as a saint, I made articles mainly quoting Christopher Hitchens about how, for example, in the name of the poor people, money has been collected and misutilized for building up institutions, and how the poor are handled. For example, syringes are never, every center you have to collect medicines by begging. You don't use this money that is collected. For example, for a tuberculosis patient, when the antibiotic process has started, which should go for 6 months, if you stop in between, he will get immunized, and no antibiotic will work on him after that. In the centers of Mother Teresa where tuberculosis patients are there, once they start the immunization process or the antibiotic process, when there is no medicine available, they don't go and buy from a pharmacy. They would ask local people to donate it. If they don't donate it, that's the wish of Jesus. You don't give it in between. It's written in articles with evidences. Or when the syringes are blunt by so many times of injection, people are screaming with pain. It's a sentence, very famous sentence of Mother Teresa. When people are screaming with pain, they should understand that Jesus is kissing them. And we took serious objections about these kind of things. I said, I'm not very proud about Mother Teresa's work in India. Number two, when she was later, after her death, when she was made a saint, you know, the church is celebrating her work, but she was not made a saint because of her special work that she has done for the people, but because a lady, namely Monica Besra, claimed that she had a tumor in her stomach, and she took a picture of Mother Teresa on the stomach, and the tumor has vanished. That's why this miracle has happened, and that's why she was made a saint. And Monica Besra wrote a wonderful statement in English language and signed and sent to Vatican. She never write or read English language. And of course, she has been in a hospital and had a surgery for tumor, which is recorded. So I said, if you want to make her a saint, why don't you make, some serious arguments in defense of her, what she has been doing? Why this miracle story is brought up? Because Catholic Church officially is a miracle mongering institution. Because everybody who is a saint needs 2 miracles attributed to the person to become a saint. It's to be approved by Vatican. And there are more than 10,000 saints. Imagine, there are 20,000 officially accepted miracles. So in a situation like that, a common, gullible person in the church would look for miracles. That's why there are a lot of crying Marys and weeping Jesus everywhere. All these years, if Jesus was living 2,000 years back, Why should his mother cry even now in pictures and statues? I do not know. If he has come to save everybody, it's not a question of crying, but one should be joyful about that thing. But still one is presented her as crying all the time. In Mumbai also, it's not Mary who was crying, but Jesus himself was crying on the crucifix there. And this was exactly 1 year back, 10th of March. I was just noticing another very interesting date here. The previous picture. That was a different picture. Oh. No. What was the date of her? That was 8th of March. Okay, that was exactly one. This also March. So here, this is a crucifix in Mumbai in a suburb, and from the feet of Jesus, some water driplets started falling down. 1st of March, it has begun last year, and the news spread like wildfire. And the church, instead of taking this water and verifying what exactly it is, they said it's a miracle. Jesus is weeping, and the water is coming, the tears are coming through the feet, and they collected the water, the tears, and distributed to people. The priest came out. This is just outside the building of the church, on the wall, and the priest came out and he started prayers in front of this crucifix. And nearly 1,000 people visited every day. They made public prayers. People sit, on their knees and praying publicly for the blessings of Jesus. And this water was given to everybody in a spoon, and they have to lick it and drink. People have been doing it. So when I reached there on 10th of March last year, I got permission from them, and I went with the television crew. And when I reached there, a prayer was going on. The priest of this particular church was outside under the crucifix with his Bible and reading from special parts about a special part of exorcising, where the spirits of haunted people were taken by Jesus and put on pigs, and the pigs were driven away to sea. Such stories, are attributed to Jesus in the Bible, of course. Such stories he had been reading, and then after, in between, he stops. He takes out a page of Bible and read it, and people are repeating. And then he stops, and then somebody goes with a small bucket of water and gives them 1 spoonful, and it brought to me also. I refused to drink it. I said I would like to get a little sample. They did not give me a sample, but one of my friends who went took this water and took it in a small bowl and sent it for sample later, which proved that my allegation was correct later. What happened was, after the prayer, I was given a permission to verify the whole area. What I found was just behind this statue, this crucifix, there's a wall which was completely wet, and there's algae already growing on that. It means there was wetness there for at least more than a week. So it's more at down, and topwards it's lesser. Means there is some water coming from down. Then I further looked, and there's a nearby wall. There's also water present there. You can see the crucifix also there on the side. That also has some water presence. And where could this water be coming from? I went behind and found a toilet there. So it's a little dirty toilet meant for workers and leaking everywhere. And there was a water source at the top. And the water was coming through a small pipe near the wall and coming near the crucifix, and then here it goes down to be connected to the main drainage line. I opened this part, this stone cover, and I found it was really dirty, clogged water there, stinking. I could not really, stand there. It was such stinky water because it was so clogged, dirty toilet water coming straight away from the toilet. I took photographs, recorded everything, and I went outside. And I went to the feet. Here I touched above this nail, it was not wet. And under the nail, it was wet. And I touched the nail, it was all wet. So like on the wall, water has climbed up through capillary action. Water, when it cannot go down, it looks for other places to climb up. Small pores it climbs up. That's why trees get water. That's why when there is water clogging, it comes on the wall. So it has climbed up the cement base of the statue, and it came up to the nail, and there was a hole at the nail. It simply drained down, and it simply came out through the feet. So there was no tear coming from the eyes, but it was coming through the nail and coming down only. And so I touched this water, and I smelled it. Yes, the same dirty smell. And then I understood what was happening. I did not speak to them, but they insisted that I should explain what I found. But I told generally about scientific temper and critical inquiry and all these kind of things only, and came to the studio in the evening, and the church wanted their representatives to counter what I said. They sent 5 representatives to counter me. It's a live television program. First 10 minutes, I get an opportunity to explain it. I explained it so properly with pictures and drawings and photographs. It worked very well. Because next day, there was no single person going to pray there. It was all over in one night. Because once I told that this is dirty toilet water, nobody wanted to take it. But the price I had to pay was very, very high. The bishop himself wanted to be, in the television program, they've been shouting and screaming, and they said, water will not climb up, you are absurd, you don't know anything about that thing, water goes only down. These kind of arguments they make in the television program. Then the bishop himself wanted to be in the television program. He comes in. And the bishop says in the program that you are ignorant. I said, that's a very strong statement that we make, but on what grounds? He said, you are criticizing that we are anti-science. You know, throughout history, it was the Pontifical Scientific Institute that has promoted science in Europe. We have been the promoters of science. I just laughed so loudly. Provoked, of course, him. Then I said, I would counter it, but not by me. I would bring 2 witnesses from history. I would invoke them to counter you. One would be Leonardo Bruno, whom you have burned on a city square. The other would be Galileo Galilei, whom you have put in prison for 12 years. And he said, do you know what Galileo Galilei said at the last? He apologized for the mistake. And I want you to apologize too. That's a statement of the bishop. I said, you force a person, persecute a person, and force an apology, and some people for their life must have done that thing. But I would not do that thing, because I would say that you have to apologize, because you have been giving dirty toilet water to people, telling that it's a miraculous water. It's very irresponsible, and thousands of people you have given this water, and how much diarrhea you have spread out of this thing to be counted. So the bishop was very angry, and then I said about miracle mongering. I have complained about the Catholic Church that your miracle mongering is seriously taken. Maybe in the medieval times, whatever you have done, I don't want to criticize you. You are not responsible. Some other people have been doing. But I thought things are being corrected. John Paul has apologized for a lot of things. Then he said, you simply say John Paul? I said, I didn't say His Highness or His Majesty or something like that. I said, I later told to him, in a press statement also, I said, Mr. Bishop, I don't know your name. I do not call all these people Highness or Majesty or anything. I can call a person by name, or the position. The Pope is sufficient for explaining. You have to study to respect people, he said. You know, the most powerful army in the world is of United States. And the commander-in-chief of United States Army, the president, can be called Mr. President. This Lilliput kingdom's king, he cannot be called Mr. is something, you know, ridiculous. So I refused to call him. I said I can call him with Mr. I mean, that's the maximum I could do. I don't want to insult anybody, of course. I mean, he's an individual, and I would respect his views on the other side. But I would like to have, as an individual to individual level, I think he's not infallible in my eyes. And also, they have made a lot of mistakes. That's why you have apologized. No Pope has ever apologized. They are infallible. I said, maybe you have to study more about the Catholic Church. I said the bishop. Bishop became very, very angry, and he walked off. But immediately, he told his people there, talked to them, and later telephoned them. And they immediately came on the television shouting at me, and they said, we will not allow you to see sunlight after this thing. We will punish you. I told them later, look, you already tell people that, you know, for whatever kind of things that I'm doing, there is eternal fire in the hell already. But if that's not sufficient, you have to punish me here itself. Okay, try that thing. Okay, but they're not happy with the eternal fire waiting for me, but they went to police stations and sought the support of police officers. And I asked them also, if you feel that any of what I said is incorrect, historically incorrect or scientifically untenable, you can file a defamation case against me. I welcome you do it. But they didn't go for a defamation case. They went for a law which was made in 1860 by the colonial authorities in India, which is not compatible with the Indian constitution. This law, the last person I know who was convicted was Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy in 1958. A very famous rationalist was convicted. But he was not taken to prison. He was convicted by the Supreme Court, but he was a very respected person. They could not touch him. So now this law has a problem. This can be misutilized very easily because without a court's interference, the police officer can decide the case is prima facie existing or not, and he can arrest you without an arrest warrant. That is done by the same law is in Pakistan, which has death penalty. In India, it has only 3 years imprisonment and fine, of course. But the police officer, when he arrests a person, you cannot guarantee a bail. It's non-bailable. Maybe one can get a bail, but it's not guaranteed. Most of the time, a bail is denied. So I have a legal remedy. My lawyer said that you go for an anticipatory bail. Telling that, I mean, in the Indian constitution very clearly says that like fundamental rights, there is a fundamental duty in Indian constitution to promote scientific temper, critical inquiry, spirit of reform and humanism. That's a duty of an Indian citizen as per the Indian constitution. On the other side, as a fundamental right, there is freedom of speech, belief, faith, worship and opinion. It's guaranteed as a fundamental right. So what I've been doing was my fundamental duty, which is defended by my fundamental right. But the Indian Penal Code says that if with malicious intention somebody tries to hurt the sentiments of somebody's belief, he can be arrested without an arrest warrant, and the police officer can do it. Though the law, which was never used properly, was used against me. The bishops asked to file cases in all police stations against me, and 17 police stations they have filed complaints with 17 different people. 14 police officers said that is absurd, and they simply rejected it. But the bishop could convince 3 police officers. They've taken it in regard. And one police officer started calling me at after 10 o'clock in the night, come to Mumbai and get arrested. First of all, I said that, are you calling from a mobile phone or a police station? Okay. Then he identified his name and all. I simply call a press conference and tell people that this guy is telephoning me every night and asking me to come to Mumbai. And if he wants to arrest me, he should come to Delhi and he can arrest me. Okay, I knew what I was speaking because this case was in Mumbai. And I never thought, I took it as lightly. I did not seriously think that nobody would come to arrest me. Because if I could be arrested for such a thing, I've done much serious offenses to most of the miracles in India. Thousands of miracles I've explained and exposed. And I've been speaking so openly and so, powerfully in all channels and media and articles and everywhere. And Catholic Church also have very strongly criticized earlier. Like for example, when Sister Alfonsa was made a saint from Kottayam district. That's a very interesting place. Kottayam is the place I was growing. And that has the highest concentrated Catholic population. 48% of the people are Catholics. And most of the schools are owned by some kind of church relation. So when Sister Alfonsa, one nun who died some years back, was suddenly made a saint, all the Catholic schools dressed up the little girls there in nun's dress and made demonstrations in the streets. In my article about this, published in Outlook magazine, it's available on the net also, I said this is a very important recruitment drive which is going on. Because the number of nuns in the whole world is declining so heavily. It's 70% decline in the last 50 years. And more than 50% of the nuns of the whole world are going from India. And out of the whole 50% of nuns going from India, 92% are going from one district which is known as Kottayam. And there you make an anonymous nun who died some years back with some ailment as a saint and dress up children as nuns. This is non-exportable. That's my article. So, church was looking for an opportunity, and they wanted to make a lot of old things. They wanted to settle a lot of old accounts properly. And so the bishops have been active, and they insisted on this police officer, and I went for an anticipatory bail application in Delhi High Court. Normally I should get it. The Delhi court, nobody wants to touch religion. That's a problem in India. The Delhi court says, well, the case is in Mumbai, why don't you go to Mumbai and try it? A battery of lawyers come from Mumbai sent by the church and advise the prosecutors, and they say that if I'm arrested, I'll be more safe because maybe some fanatics are against me already. So for my safety, I should be kept in prison. Okay. So these arguments would work. That can be a reason that I can be kept in prison. So another problem is when an anticipatory bail is rejected, I can be immediately arrested. So I knew what was happening. I went out of the court much earlier in a different site. Not outside, police was waiting for me. I knew it. Because I wanted to move to Mumbai High Court to get an anticipatory bail. If I'm arrested, I cannot move an anticipatory bail. That's a technical problem. Because in anticipation of an arrest only I can go for a court. If I'm arrested, it's non-bailable. So technically I have to remain out and try for a bail before getting arrested. So I decided, my lawyer said that, go underground. So it looked very difficult, a face of me which is now so popularly known everywhere, I cannot really go underground. It's very difficult for me. So I decided to stay in some friend's house for some days till my anticipatory bail application is cleared in Mumbai. The Mumbai High Court, meantime, go through the whole case and said that by merit we would approve this thing. But technically we would say that you should go to lower court first, and if it's rejected there, come back to us again. It's pushed away. Again, it's gone basically. At that moment I realized that the bishops are very powerful, and they are seeking every opportunity to corner me, and they want to get me in. Meantime, a blog of one of these fanatic groups started discussing about what I should be humiliated in an arrest. That's one of the wishes some people have. And one guy says that, one of the complainants against me says that he should be arrested at least for one night in the prison and taught a good lesson in that night. Another person that, what should we do? We should pay money to one of the co-prisoners to get him away in that night. That's how language they speak. So it became a little dangerous, and I got very reliable information that the Mumbai bishops are trying to hire somebody to kidnap me to Mumbai and get me to the right police officers to handle me properly. So all these informations were coming to me, and I decided sometimes I went to very strange places. In this university where I studied, I researched for my PhD for years. I went to a hostel room, and I just stayed with some friends. And all the students knew that I was there. Everybody protected me so properly. But meantime, after the Mumbai anticipatory bail was cancelled, I knew that things were coming a little different. I was about to go to Poland for a lecture tour. 10 days later, I decided to go a little early so that the dust settles down. I talked to friends in United States, and the Center for Inquiry said that you come to United States and we would take care of you. In Britain, friends said come to Britain. Then I wrote to some other friends in Europe, and one of my friends in Helsinki, the education director in Helsinki, is an old friend of mine. He has some connections with the government. He said, try to come to Finland and we try to get a visa in hours. And I got a visa in 4 hours. It's quite unusual. And that night I flown to Finland. And before that I studied from the Home Ministry whether there was an effort to stop me at the airport. Officially, no. That needs a Metropolitan Magistrate's permission. But unofficially, the Mumbai officers have asked the airports, warned them, if I come there, I should be arrested, but not officially recorded and hand them over. unofficially. So of course, we knew this information from some officers, and there were some people to help me out, and I could just walk through that thing. But still the wheels of the flight moving, I was not sure whether I would be taken back. So once I reached Finland, and I started my lecture tour in Poland, went to the home place, birthplace of John Paul II, and made a powerful speech there, and the atrocities of church in India. And there I heard the police has already reached my home to arrest me. Well, there I got trapped in Europe. I decided I don't go back now immediately. I don't want to be a martyr. I would like to work and fight against these kind of things. Then I decided now I would, they wanted to stop me studying about miracles, but I don't stop that thing. The rationalists are everywhere exposing miracles in India. I'm in contact with them. At least 20 more miracles of Catholic Church alone we have exposed in India. And of course, in Poland I have exposed some miracles. Then the next trip, another trip was in Ireland. There I went to, as I told you, the moving Mary of Battingspital I have exposed. So I keep on doing this thing. And of course, this is a long struggle. I do not know how long it would go. This is the bishop who was threatening me and making all these problems. And now, as of now, I have only 2-3 remedies possible. One is forcing this church to make them as shameful and force them to withdraw the case. CNN television has made, so many television, CNN and BBC all made stories about this thing. In CNN, one of the complainants come and they ask them, the church is trying to make a progressive face in Europe, and what are you doing there? He says, the law is the law. We want him to be in prison for some days at least. That's the word they use. And the British Rationalist Association made an appeal to ask people to sign, asking the church to withdraw the case. I mean, telling that this is absurd. The first person who signed was Richard Dawkins. First person, number one, he was this signature. And they got 12,000 signatures in 2 weeks. Every single signature signing, one mail would go to the bishop's conference mailbox. They got more than 12,000 mail in their inbox. Now the Archbishop responded to that thing. He made a public statement. He said that I am not a party to this case. I was in Vatican at that time in a synod. Of course, my people have contacted me, asked me whether they should go for a case. I said yes. If somebody has insulted our faith, one should stop him. But of course, others have done it. I am not responsible. But if this Sanal Edamaruku apologizes to the church for whatever he has done, I can see to it that the cases are withdrawn in hours. I made a press statement very clearly, one statement, one sentence only in that thing. Not one sentence, one paragraph only. I said there are some people existing even now who would not succumb to pressures and who would not accept any kind of bullying when they are convinced about facts and about what they spoke. And I am one amongst them. I don't apologize. I have a lot of problems. For example, my mother is 80 years old. She's ill. I cannot see her. I talk to her over the Skype. I chair the Rationalist Association's board meeting. I said I can resign since I'm away. The association has re-elected me in absentia. And I chair the meetings over the Skype. And we have all our publications, everything is going intact, and this has given a lot of confidence and unity in the whole movement. That's the biggest achievement I feel, this thing. Not that I could be isolated or anything. Personally, I have a lot of troubles when I'm not in India. But this has given more strength to the movement. Now I'm traveling all around the world and speaking about this thing. I've been in most part of Europe now. I've been in Spain, I've been in Poland, I've been in Stockholm, I've been in Germany, I've been in Britain, in Ireland. Now, after this trip in Norway, I will be again going to Britain, to Birmingham, to Oxford, I will be speaking. Next month I am going to South America, the another center of Catholic Church in Brazil, in Colombia, in Chile. I have lectures there. Then I go to Canada. So then I go to Australia. I wanted to make this issue of miracle mongering and the persecution process that happens even now to public eye, to make them ashamed to correct it. They have to correct it because this is 21st century, this is not medieval times. And people should be able to defend free speech. There is no if or but. Free speech means free speech. And everybody has the right to criticize anything. Everybody has the right to make statements of whatever they are feeling correct. And others have equal rights to oppose it. That's the civilized world's communication system. That's what is dialogue. We are not for fights and streets. We are for intellectual dialogue, discussion. It's a free marketplace of ideas. And that is one of the greatest values that we have developed in the latter part of history. And if we want to jeopardize that thing for the authority of certain people, of some holy men or some church or some mosque or somebody, like Gillen post your own paperhead, free speech is free speech is free speech. There is no if or but. It has to survive like that. And it's one of the greatest values that we have achieved. And I'm willing to go to any extent to defend my right of free speech and to defend my right to say a fraud is a fraud. And that's why I'm in this mission. So in this process, I've got a very interesting question from one of the journalists. They said that we have stories that you could be killed by somebody if you go to India. I said, I'm not afraid of that thing. I've gone to people directly, and I mean, people like me, I know it. But I mean, nobody can prevent if somebody wants to kill somebody. And if somebody wants to kill me, I made again a very sarcastic comment. I don't believe that Jesus has resurrected. I don't believe that he has resurrected. That's a mythological story. But if I am killed, I will resurrect. But not as one channel, but hundreds of people who defend my position, and they will see to it that intolerance no longer works. And that's my mission. Thank you very much.